Well, good morning. Good morning. It's great to see each and every one of you in the middle of October. Who can believe it's already like almost Halloween? I mean, Halloween's what, 2.5 weeks away now? Maybe three? I don't know. It's on a Friday, right? So, anyway, it's good to see each and every one of you. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you're watching the live, say hi in the chat if you can. If you're watching the replay, say hi in the comments. It's always nice to hear who is joining us today. So today I have a brand new guest. It is Cathy from Yoga and Quilt. She has a wonderful Instagram account. So if you haven't checked out Instagram, go over and check it out. It's a wonderful platform. I love it dearly. I go over there and get all my quilty, well, a lot of my quilty inspiration over there. So go check out her account. It's Yoga and Quilt. So she does yoga and quilting, which is really fun. So I'm going to let Cathy introduce herself a little bit better and tell us who she is, where she is, what she does, and all that good stuff. So it's all over to you, Cathy.
Thank you. I'm Cathy Clark, and I'm based here in Eastern Iowa. Many of you might remember me from the chat. I know we have a lot of Midwesterners here in the chat with us too. So shout out to everybody and just everybody from around the world too. I'm a mom of two, full-time mom of two, and they're wonderful boys. They're age 2, almost 3, and 9 months. So I worked full time in a large corporation until just last year, and I worked in IT, and I have an education in communication and Spanish. And then I became a certified yoga instructor for both general and prenatal yoga and postnatal yoga, and just been teaching occasionally at my local yoga studio, and also treating some of my own ailments that came from living in a pregnant body and then recovering from pregnancy and C-sections, two C-sections within a couple years. So we've just been in recovery mode around here the last 9 months and trying to get used to daily life with two boys. So uh, we're very busy, and we're even getting ready to send one to early preschool here next month and getting ready for another life shift. So I think that is a good bit about me in a nutshell, and looking forward to springing off from there with you, Sean, and getting into some conversation. I always like listening to the conversation and joining along in the chat every Saturday here, and excited to see uh, our regulars in the chat and maybe some new people too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so good to have you here. And as we were saying a little bit earlier, Cathy has a wonderful Instagram account. I need to go get some lessons from her because I post on there once in a while, but I'm it's not my area of specialty yet. She does a lot better job than I do. So I might be coming to you to get some inspiration. But who knows? Maybe we'll see her on other platforms as well. So we'll go from there. Let's see who is here in the chat real quick, and then we'll show what we're working on. I'm excited to see what Cathy's working on. She told me a little bit about it before we went online, and then I'll show you what I'm working on as well. So looks like my friend Susan was that first viewer in this morning, all the way out there in dark and chilly Washington State, up early this morning. Yes, 5 a.m. That is absolutely amazing that you're up that early. At 5 o'clock this morning, I was still soundly asleep, I can assure you. Good morning to Miss Polly. Good morning to Pat up there in Cumberland County, Nova Scotia in Canada. Good morning to my mate Sean, the Moldy Lasagna. I have not seen you in quite a while, so it's good to see you. I know you're usually busy working, so it's good that you're able to join us this morning. Made by Misty. Good morning to Miss Cora. Good afternoon to Zaza. It's good to see you all the way out there in the UK. Sandy is here with us as well. Good morning to Katie. She's up bright and early as well, although it's, 10 a.m. there in Greenland, I think. Sandy, good morning. Susan, we've already said hi to. Let's see if I missed anyone. GJ10, good morning. It's good to see you. I don't recognize the names. That might be a first-time guest. So good to see you as well. Good morning to Miss Andy. She's up bright and early as well. So you've got a lot of people up bright and early. I think they've all come to see you, Cathy. So that is awesome. So, Cathy, what did you bring along today to sew?
I brought my Annabelle quilt that I'm making for my son. He is in love with cows, especially anything black and white. Child psychology tells us that the first colors that children pick up when their eyes are developing is the color black and white.
Really?
So I've definitely, yeah, I've definitely got some actual cow print that I went out and got. And I'm working with different substrates. So that forced me to go into working with shirting fabric, which is usually for garment sewists. And that is the only place where I could find a cow print that I liked was in shirting and not quilting cotton. So I'm working with that and mixing it with other substrates like cotton wovens from Fabulism. I don't even think I'm actually working with quilting cotton in this. So it's a learning opportunity. These are all of my pieces. I have the snouts done there, and
Oh,
I
that's
use
fun.
the cow print. So I'll be unpacking that and probably constructing the faces today. I think I'm close to having almost all the different parts of the face, the muzzle, the eyes, the ears and horns ready to go.
That is such a neat pattern, it looks like. I'll have to go check out the actual pattern itself. Because anything, I'm always drawn to patterns of animals. People who've watched my channel for any length of time probably know that already. I just finished a quilt top with cows, actually, or a cow and a bunch of other farm animals recently as well. And that was that I made mine black and white as well, which was really neat. So that's fun. And I did not know that black and white was one of the first colors that children developed. So that is awesome. So there you go. All right. So Margie says, "Oh, hi, Sean. It was me so early." Yes, it is. And then I saw a couple other people pop in. Good morning to Jet. Some coffee, I promise. Says good morning. They've been up since 3 o'clock this morning, so that is awesome. Andy says they have a guild today. Guild event today. Haven't had coffee yet. That becomes 4 stitching. So there you go. And Hades put out a message that says thank you for all you do. The folks that are members, which is a paid membership, it's optional, very much optional, do have the ability to put out a special message once a month as part of their membership. It's something that YouTube does. So thank you for that, Katie. It's really neat. So what am I working on today? I'm going to continue working on Misha's quilts. I'm working on row 5 of 9. So this is actually going to be the halfway point, which is really awesome. So these are some blocks that I've created in the past. These are mostly applique. Actually, I think they're all applique. So this is a comment that's used to say all the time, it's a bird. And then I put the cardinal, which is the state bird of Virginia, and apparently 7 other states in the US. I only learned that quite recently. And then we have a Christmas tree. And then Hamilton, because the girl was obsessed with Hamilton. They went to see, her and Amanda went to go see the musical here in Norfolk that year, right after Christmas. I stayed home because all I would have done is fallen asleep, and it would have been a very expensive nap. And then hamburgers and snowmen, because it snowed a little bit here that year. And then hot dogs, because that was something else that she enjoyed. So we'll sew that one together and we'll go from there. So let me see, what have we got going on here? Gauge of your audience. We'll do that later. Okay. So Cathy, let's just learn a bit more about you. When did you start sewing, and what kind of got you interested? Like, is it something that you started in high school? Is it something that one of your relatives taught you, or you just kind of picked it up later in life like I did?
I started sewing since I was about 6 years old. My mom sewed her own garments. She grew up in Missouri, in Northwest Missouri, in a small town named Cameron. It's actually really close to the hometown of Missouri Quilt Company. That's pretty much the next town down the highway in Hamilton, Missouri. So she grew up a farmer's daughter, and if you wanted anything remotely stylish or that expressed yourself through your clothing, you pretty much had to make it on your own. So she was born in 55. And maybe they had a did they have JC Penney back then, or maybe a Sears in the next biggest town over? But, farmers, that's probably the least priority of what they want to spend their money on is anything at the department store. So she loved expressing herself through clothing, and it was a fun time. It was 60s and 70s, so all the flower power, all the polyester.
Oh, I can imagine.
And
Yeah.
she had a very generous aunt, I think, who didn't end up having kids of her own. So her aunt gave her nice fabric, and I want to say a sewing machine too. So she got to work on that. I remember going to Grandma and Grandpa's in Cameron, Missouri, for Thanksgiving when I was a little kid, and all of us girls tried on her clothes that she made for herself when she was our age, and um, and we had fashion shows that nobody asked for. um, and hopefully those clothes are still in the closet to this day. We'll see. But it was just an inspiration. That's where I get my inspiration for quilting actually is garments I found to be a little bit too hard to construct because of shape and fabric choice. When she got to teaching me, I was probably not patient enough as a 6-year old to understand garment sewing. So when I did sew in my teens and early 20s, it was more quilting because it was straight lines, and the quilting cotton was a little bit easier to work with than anything that had stretch or anything that was a little thicker.
Right.
Um, so I started with small projects, and I did pillow covers. And then I got into baby quilts, especially when I was pregnant with my first son in 2022. I made my first actual quilt. It was Elizabeth Hartman's Swans that she has. I think it's Swan Island. I always want to call it
Yeah.
Swan Lake, but Swan Island. So baby quilt there. And then I made another swan. This one was a pillow cover for my second son, born in January of this year. And you've seen that one because you call it the black swan, like you had in
I
Australia.
do. Yes.
Oh, there's my black cat, Ollie. The cat always has to
We
be in
we always
the cat.
welcome our pets on your lives, so it's good to see her. That is a her, right?
It's a little boy.
Little
Yeah, I
boy.
don't
Okay.
like
I had a
boys.
50-50 shot on that one. So
He has a little patch of white on his chest, and sometimes if you stroke it just the right direction, it makes a little heart.
oh, that's fun.
Yeah. He's a little feisty. He got his breakfast, but I think he wants more.
Now he wants some camera time. He wants to be live with everybody else. So that's fun. Let's see. Margie says nobody can sleep Hamilton. It was an event to remember. Oh, it's a fantastic musical. I got to see it on TV here during the pandemic. I think it was when Disney Plus or whatever decided to put it on for everyone to see. But yeah, you put me in a dark room, a dark theater, or anything else like that, I am out like a light. Good night. Thank you very much. Wake me up when it's done. So I fell asleep during the fight scene in Les Miserables one time, and that was the last time I was invited to a theater. So yeah, I don't go anymore. It's just better that way. Andy says she made a baby quilt for a friend in her 20s, but it was about 10 years later when the bug really hit. She also says that she loves the kitty. I have a tuxedo too, a little more white on her. Harley. Zaza says my granny let me play a fabric on her machine when I was about 8. I didn't really sew till I was an adult. I started with home furnishings because I wanted things for the house I couldn't afford. Very nice. Susan says my mother taught me how to sew on a 1948 cabinet singer when she was 7, sewed clothes later in grade school. Very nice. Yeah, I think I've told the story probably a million times, but I took home ec in high school because the state required it. I hated every minute of it. I swore I'd never sew again. We made I forget what we made. I think we made a pair of shorts, which I promptly burnt because they looked horrendous. I wasn't going to wear them. I don't know what else we made in sewing. And then I really didn't touch it again until I was in almost my mid-30s. I saw the quilts at the state fair one year, and I thought, okay, let's give this a try and see what happens. And oh my goodness, that was dangerous. Look what it's turned into. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
Yeah, I
And
think
then,
in home ec or whatever they're calling it these days, I know Andy knows, consumer sciences or something like that. They're teaching sewing completely with the wrong kind of projects. I remember I made some pretty difficult stuff, like a sweatshirt with the cuffs and oh my, I think they should have you making tank tops, if anything. Um, and definitely small projects like pillowcases. I think
yeah,
they're doing completely wrong projects, if they even have it in schools anymore these days.
Well, I think it's fantastic that it's in schools because it, especially for those that want to do it. I think it's a good way for you to get into it because it seems like the more I talk to people, there's not as many people that have um, family members or friends that sewed. Like I know here in my wife's side, I don't think there's anybody that sews. Like I don't think her mom doesn't sew. I don't think her grandma might have. I don't know. Um, but I don't think her aunts do or anyone else really. So like when I went to learn sewing, thank goodness there was YouTube out there because that was it for me. So my mom sewed a little bit, but she was doing more like embellishments on towels and that sort of thing there. And I had like a family auntie who was, she did same sort of thing. One of my aunties sewed and she made my sister one of them puff or biscuit or whatever you call it, quilts. Which more power to. And now that I've made a couple of those things there, I know that was a huge achievement because those things can be quite challenging. But yeah, that's really about it for the family. Like we don't really have it. My sister now, so she quilts as well. Now that I'm talking about, she'll probably pop in the chat. But yeah, that's really about it for our family. Amanda knits. Some of our kids. Well, I taught Lorenzo how to sew. He made a quilt top. Nisha learned how to sew, and that's about it for the kids. But some of the others have learned how to crochet and knit and that sort of thing there as well. Nanette, the farm, her quilter is here. I love that. I've always loved that screen name. It's good to see you. She says she first learned to sew clothes on a great grandma's treadle machine. I'd like to play on a treadle machine one day. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Zaza says home economics was mostly cooking with a tiny bit of sewing when I was at school. Yeah, we kind of did a semester, like we had to do 4 semesters. It was 2 years, 7th grade and 8th grade. We had to do home economics. And I think the first 6 months was sewing, the next 6 months was cooking, and then the next following year it was kind of the same rotation as well. Mary G says, I don't know how old I was maybe 6 or 7. Susan says, home ec's not taught here anymore. Family and consumer sciences doesn't even teach cooking. Sewing and cooking are now in the 4-H domain. And I think like at our local high school here, cooking is its own separate class. Like quite a few of the girls have taken that class here. What is it? I think what they call it. It's like culinary science or something 101. And it's been a fun class for the kids because they get to learn, they get to learn different recipes, and more American recipes. So it's like stuff like buffalo dip was something that the kids have all loved making. And that sort of thing there. So it's, in some ways, I think it's good that they've broken it up into 2 different subjects because, you may have kids that are interested in cooking, but not sewing or vice versa. So if they have broken it up in a lot of places, I don't necessarily see that being a bad thing because I would have been interested potentially doing cooking in high school, learning how to cook, but not necessarily doing sewing because at that time I had no interest in it, which is weird to see that now, like my poor home economics teacher would be probably mystified and probably fall over and break a hip or something if she saw that I was sewing now. I think at least likely to succeed. Here we go. Good evening to Miss Catherine. It's so good to see you. She's down there in Tasmania, Australia. So she is up not bright and early, really, really late because I think it's now 11:19 p.m. there. So there you go. It's good to see you. Nanette says she made her graduation suit in her home economics. That'd be fun. Yeah. I mean, it would have been neat to learn more, but yeah, it just wasn't. When you're a 13, 14-year-old boy, you really didn't take much of an interest in sewing because you probably would have gotten beat up in the school playground if you did. So,
yeah, that's too bad that pressure is there for that kind of masculinity and
yeah.
masculinity. There's so much removed from what you're allowed to do or be interested in, and that's something that my significant other and I vowed we would never have with our sons, especially when it comes to sewing. I really want to expose them to sewing, even if it means
Well,
that they're throwing my thread on the floor and my my next fabric. Someday they'll, help me with grabbing fabric or cutting fabric or whatever it is, and then hopefully they'll be into it for their own, well-being. It's coming out that sewing is so much more than what you put out there. It's about what it does for your internal peace too.
Oh, for sure, because I mean that's something I always look at. Like I come home from work, and my job is not physically demanding. I work in an office, but mentally it's very draining because
Yeah.
I'm constantly trying. I problem solve all day. That's kind
Yeah.
of what I do. Um, so yeah, I come home from work and I'm mentally drained, and this is kind of a way for me to de-stress. I pull out some fabric and I try and just make something pretty out of
Yeah.
nothing. So, I definitely get the therapeutic part of it. But yeah, thankfully, like I was very fortunate. My parents were very much in the mindset of that they encouraged us to pursue some sort of arts or crafts. I mean, they sent us to classes after school to explore different art and craft forms, painting, drawing, whatever else it is, like, find something that makes you happy and do it. So I'm very, very thankful for that. So
That's cool. Yeah,
yeah, no, I'm
yoga
very
was
thankful
that
for that.
for me. So during COVID, I would say probably when we were on the other side of it in 2022, I decided I needed a little bit of something more for my like anxiety or whatever it was that coming out of that time in our history was doing for me. And all of my friends were suggesting yoga. So I went ahead and tried it, and I was attracted to this studio where I later learned that the owner, her ideal customer, when she was thinking about her marketing plan, her ideal customer was the overworked person who has a kind of job like you're describing, leaves you mentally drained, and just needed someone to tell them, lay down, lay
Yeah,
down. So I went to their 4:30 class, like Monday, Wednesday. I think they offered maybe just Monday at that point. And I did. I just needed somebody to give me permission to lay down, maybe, move left and right. And it was a very restorative practice. Um, and it helped me to work out any kind of pains that I got from working a desk job all day. The pains that you get in the kind of like the middle back. So some people feel it in their lower back. I feel pain in my middle back a lot. Just anything can aggravate it. So having a restorative yoga practice, especially late afternoon, really helped alleviate that. And that's what I believe yoga can do for quilters is, after a long session of HSTs or trimming or cutting can be tough on the back, and shoulder
hmm
and neck. We sit at this machine and it's not dissimilar to a desk job. We sit at this machine like someone would at a computer, and
oh
we
yeah,
get,
definitely.
yeah, the things that come with sitting at that machine. So yoga can help you sew longer and more comfortably. So that's what I want to bring to the world with my channel and my Instagram account.
Yeah, and I think that'd be something good for you to consider if you do, like, either on your Instagram or if you decide to do a different platform, is maybe incorporate the yoga, like the simple, like maybe chair yoga, because I know very little about yoga. Like I
Hmm.
know a little bit. I know my in-laws both do chair yoga classes, I think at the YMCA or something like that, and they
Yeah,
rave about it. And I think it's really good for us, a lot of us to learn because like you said, you sit at these chairs and that forever. I don't seem to have that problem because I'll sit here at my sewing chair and I kid you not, like 5 minutes later, Finley has to go outside. And then I get up and I sit down and I sew for about a minute. And then Copper has to go outside. And then the whole thing goes in reverse. So I'm always up and down, which is good. But I think it's, even if you learn a couple of simple stretches or exercises, whether it's yoga or some other sort of stretch, or you just get up and walk around, and do something every so often, I think it does you the absolute world of good. So,
I agree. Yeah, movement is good. It's good that you're getting that movement. And everybody has areas that are probably aching. I know these chairs. I've talked to you about this about tall people problems. These
Oh, yes.
chairs just sit so low and you can feel it in your knees and hips, even if you're getting up and down, up and down, up and down. I know for pressing, sometimes if you don't have a really good pressing setup, which I think I'm getting there. I hear it's like the trick is to have it in a triangle setup with your sewing desk and your ironing board. So I'm getting there with my new setup. But if yeah, just getting up and down even can cause a little bit of achiness or pain, and yoga can definitely help with that too.
Sure. Yeah, no, I actually set up my little ironing station. I've got like one of them TV trays and it sits right next to me here, and you probably see me turn every so often and press, and that's worked out beautifully. And then
Good.
fairly recently too, I actually got um the bigger pressing mats that you can interlock together from Oliso. The nice people there sent me a couple of those to play with. And
Mhm.
those are really good for like pressing bigger items as well. So we'll be seeing something with that in a little while. I mean, there may actually be a giveaway in the near future with that. So stay tuned for that aspect. I can't say too much right now. I probably said more than I'm supposed to, but that's okay. We'll survive. So, all right. So let's see. I meant to say a couple of things here. I get distracted so easily. If you have a question for me and I don't answer it, please ask again because I will forget. If I don't say hi to you, it's not intentional. I get confused. I sometimes the chat just flies away, and I that sort of thing. There, please don't feel bad if you want to say hi again. Um, and then the other thing I was going to say too, yeah, if you have a channel, please feel free to put your channel link in. It should be an exclamation point and your first name. And yeah, there we go. Michelle de Quilter says, hi, Sean and Cathy. Does Cathy have a channel? Hi, Katie, Devin, everyone. So right now, Cathy does not have a YouTube channel, but she does have a Instagram link. Let me go grab that real quick because I could not sign on the Instagram on this computer for some reason.
I just recorded my first YouTube video within the last week, and then I'm needing to get it edited and probably run it past my friends that do have some YouTube channels and get their opinion and then post that. So by the end of this calendar year, I plan to have a few YouTube videos up. My first YouTube video, the topic is quilt inspiration and planning using free software. So I talk about 3 different software, one of which is social media, to get inspiration, to shop your own stash and identify what is in your stash with Google Lens, and then also use Instagram for inspiration on what colors could go with that based on what's already in the collection. And then finally, I take you to a software program that you can use for free to mock up any pattern that the designer has published on that software, to use your colors. You upload custom swatches and go to town with designing your quilt even before you buy any more fabric or start sewing or cutting out.
Oh, nice. That sounds awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So I've put Cathy's link into the chat. I've put you under yoga instead of Cathy because I already have a Cathy in the system. So anytime if you want to look at you know what, let me scroll down to the guest as well. I am not organized today. It's not, you just never know what you got to get when you come in here. So I am a hot mess half the time, and that's okay. You all still love me, and you're all still coming back. So
Yeah.
I must be doing something right.
You a bit of a perfectionist at all, Sean?
Oh, very much so. And it's funny, I'll be talking about that on a video that I plan to release hopefully early next week about my state fair quilt, because you may be able to see it hanging up behind me with that beautiful red rosette. Still super shocked that I got second place in that. And yeah, I mean, everyone said that it looked beautiful, and it was going to win a ribbon for sure. And I was like, I don't know. I saw all the mistake. You know, you see all the mistakes in it, and that's just something that we all have to really let go of, because finished is definitely better than perfect. And I don't know, half the mistakes that I thought the judge would comment on, they said nothing about. So I don't know. I
Oh,
just think it's
really?
really,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, because like some of the, like for instance, like the thing I was most concerned about was the points on the stars and how the blocks came together. Like some of them are off by a bunch, and I thought they'd put a note on there about that, which they usually do, because I'm just like, I get as close to perfect as I can for a show quilt, but I know it's never going to be perfect. But yeah, they never mentioned it this time. I thought that was very, very interesting. They did have a few notes for me, um, which were perfectly justified, and I'm glad they said something to me, because it's something I can definitely take and improve on next year. Like one of the things that they mentioned was the unobtrusive stop and starting for the quilting, which I need to practice. I'm still learning. Like I'm not. I've been a stitch in a ditch guy for way too long, and I'm now just starting to do more free motion and straight line quilting and that sort of thing there. So yeah, I'm still figuring out how to do it so it does. You don't have those obtrusive starts and stops. But that's So that's definitely wonderful information to have, because next year I'll try my best to do a better job at that. And every year you get better. So, but other than that, like, it was a really good report card. That video will come out next week, so I'm not going to give away everything, but really, it was a really, really good report card. Much better than any report card I got in high school, which is good. What was I doing here? Getting ahead of myself is what I'm doing. I have this system, and I don't know if anyone else does it, and I'd love to know if you do. Whenever I'm working with blocks that's in a row like this, because it's seven across, I put clips on the left-hand side in rainbow order. So I start with red and then work my way across the purple. So that way I know which blocks where it is meant to go. It probably sounds crazy to everybody else in the world, but it makes sense to me. So
I don't
I
work
can look
with
at.
near enough color to do that. I don't work with
Oh,
many.
okay. Yeah, I like doing sample. I especially like doing sampler blocks and that sort of thing there, because I find that I will get very bored doing the same block over and over and over and over and over again. I lose interest and want to move on to something else. I think that's why the Art East and the Elizabeth Hartman patterns speak to me so much, because A, they're just amazing, and B, it's often all different things. So I do the block once and then I get to move on to something else. Green, blue, and then purple. Okay. All right.
I think
Mary says she'll have to watch the replay. Go ahead.
that's probably why the sew-alongs kind of lose your attention eventually too.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I love the Art East solo-alongs, because again, it's a different block each month, but I think that too, I get distracted. I'm certainly easily distracted. I probably have ADD or ADHD, or probably a mixture of the both that's undiagnosed. I get so distracted by everything shiny.
Oh yeah.
And so I try and keep up, but I never manage to keep up. And that's okay. I just figure I'll get it done when I get it done. I just like to enjoy the journey and go from there.
I think priorities are always changing. I think we like to put labels on things, but priorities change. Maybe you get a new girl to come to live with you in the exchange program that you do. And pardon me if I'm calling it the wrong name.
No, you got it right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
life happens, and life is different at the beginning of a sew along versus the end. So priorities have to shift. Imagine if you said no to everything, like, no, I want to go sew. And I don't know. I've had to be the queen of mindset shifts in the last few years because the pregnancies and just everything that you set your expectations on or you set your heart on doesn't end up happening the way that you had your mind and heart on it at the beginning. With pregnancy, it's amazing how much your social media feed fills up with um, nursing products that you need to buy in order to nurse your baby. Like, buy this hoodie and buy this sweater or this maternity wear. And, you know, maybe your body has different plans for nursing than you did. But when it comes to what you put your heart and mind on and the products you buy and the plans you make, well, guess what? The universe has plans for your plans.
Mm-hmm. No, it's definitely true, and that's one of the things I like about Instagram. Is I don't know, maybe I got mine set up the right way or something, but I don't see a lot of ads on that platform, which is really nice compared to Facebook, where there's like an ad every other, an ad or a scam every other story. But yeah, like this quilt here's a good example of that too. Like I started this back in 2019, and my goal was to have, I think we had like 110 or 120 blocks on this. And I'd made close to 70 on this, and then I kind of just lost interest in it, and it just kind of sat in this thing here for about 4 or 5 years. And then I showed it off in a video that I produced a couple of weeks ago when I went to Pennsylvania with the girls. And quite a few of them, I think Andy was one of the folks that said, you know, they'd love to see this get finished. And so that gave me inspiration, like gave me a little bit of interest in it. And I was like, okay, how many blocks do I have? Do I have enough for a quilt? And I had enough for 9.5 rows, and I could have made 5 more blocks to make it 10 rows. And I just looked at it and I was like, I have absolutely not the first bit of interest in making more of these blocks. I was like, I'm done with this, you know. So I picked out, I took out, I think 3 or 4 blocks that, you know, they're beautiful blocks, and I'll use them for something else to make this work. And so, and now that it's actually going together, I'm getting very excited about this actually getting done, because it's a beautiful project. It's got to look stunning. It would have been fun with all 110 blocks, but it's got to look just as fun with the 60 something, and it's going to be done.
Yeah. So did you say that you removed the number of blocks that the pattern called for just to call it done?
Yeah, well, I'm making this one up as I go along. Like none of these, it's not an official pattern. I just kind of picked out events from when we were here, like when Nisha was here with us. And so, like, I go online and look for pictures of a snowman or a hamburger. I just cut stuff out myself. So yeah, this is not a pattern. So unfortunately, I cannot share the pattern with you because there isn't one to share.
I love
And it's
that. I'm
been
thinking about doing some like mashups of quilt patterns to make my own one. So I really like Liza Taylor Handmade has one that just says "I love you" 6 times across, and then you construct the letters. But for a baby quilt, most recently, I posted this on my Instagram. Uh, I just did the "I heart you" to make it a little quicker, instead of spelling out the word love, and just making a pattern my own. It really reduced the width. And you can probably fit it into a crib, except I put really wide borders on it. But with that, you can come up with your own concepts, borrow from the patterns, but modify, mash it up with other patterns, maybe put some
sure.
different star blocks in there from other patterns and make it your own. It's unless you're a pattern tester and have to go by the book, absolutely feel free to take and borrow and steal and just be creative with it. But then you do get into more of when everything is pieced together, you do kind of have to do your own quilt math, but just know that that part is coming and be okay with that.
Right. Yeah, for me, a pattern is like a recipe. It's a good baseline. And if you want it to look just like the designer wanted it, then yeah, you can definitely just follow the pattern and away you go. But yeah, I like to put my own spin on a lot of stuff. even on like some of John's patterns that he pulls out, some of the fabrics that a lot of times I buy the kits from him just because A, the fabrics are stunning, and B, it makes my life a lot easier. And I think he's really the only one I buy pattern kits for. Although I lie, I've got the dog park pattern as well that I bought the kit for because that thing looks stunning. But yeah, generally I like to do my own fabrics. But even at those, there's sometimes where I look at the fabrics and go, let me change this one up. I did that quite a bit with the Wizard of Oz. I did that with I'm doing that with Alice in Wonderland. I changed, even though it's all Tula pink, I've been changing the cheeks to the Kona sheen because I just think it looks better. And I know if you're a Tula purist, you're probably mad at me, and that's okay. So
Her studio is actually in the Kansas City area, so she's another fun Midwesterner, Californian relocated to Midwest. I love watching her Tula Tuesdays on Instagram and where she explains.
nice.
My local quilt shop is supposed to be getting her gray work line any day now.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up at my friend's quilt shop the other day, and a lady brought this beautiful quilt that she brought in with all Tula fabric. Oh, it was a stunning quilt. Really, really pretty. I should have taken a photo of it, but I didn't think about it at the time. Just I bought what I needed to get there, and then I was trying to find my way out and get across the bridge and tunnel before the rush hour started. So
yeah, you have to worry about that there. You talk a lot about traffic and
yeah, you have to time everything because I went up to go get. Well, I took the day off on Wednesday so I could go up and get my quilts, my cushion, and Amanda's socks from the fair because that's pickup day. I could get it shipped, but I think they charge something like $35 a piece to do that. I think that's more to encourage folks to go get it themselves. So, for me, it's 3 items, it's $105. Yeah, I'll drive up there. Plus, I go down to my favorite sausage roll shop and get myself a little treat on the way home. So
I loved doing stuff like that when I was single and didn't have my kids yet. Like, take myself on a date is what I used to call it. And some people would say, "Oh my gosh, you don't mind dining at a restaurant alone or anything like that?" And it's like, no,
yeah,
I'll just put my headphones and listen to a podcast or whatever it is. Usually I find some wait staff or the bartender staff to talk to because that's what bartenders are there for. So that's the thing is bartenders used to actually talk to you and it was part of their job to entertain you and things like that. And now bartenders are always on their phone if everybody has their drinks full. And I remember a day when people engaged you more. But yeah, I love the idea that you took yourself on a date.
Yeah, I mean it's something I do pretty much every year now because there's a fried sausage roll shop up in Richmond, which is about 90 minutes from me, and it's with pies and sausage rolls. I mean, Zaza's probably chuckling right now because they're very popular in the UK, but they're staples, staple foods in Australia. Like if you want a cheap eat, like here you go out for hamburgers and hot dogs. Down there, it's meat pies and sausage rolls. I can make a good meat pie here. I can do a decent sausage roll here at home, but I have not got the puff pastry part of it down pat yet. So there's a New Zealand bakery in Richmond that anytime I'm close by, I will definitely pop in and grab one. So it used to be when I went up and picked up the stuff on a Wednesday, they were closed. They were like closed on Wednesdays. But the last 2 or 3 years they've been open. So yeah, I drive up to get my quilts, and then I drive into Richmond. I grab my sausage rolls, and then I just start heading home. And then this year, I was stopped by my friend's quilt shop because I needed to pick up a couple of things. And but then you also have to try and make sure that I'm across the bridge and the tunnel before rush hour starts, because otherwise I'll be sitting in traffic for half an hour, if not longer. So this is the
I
next
used to remember
row.
that. I remembered that when I lived in Kansas City.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
I actually got the logos for Hamilton, This is the Hamilton logo here, and applique that. And I think this is the Shiloh sisters, if I remember correctly. How I managed to do that, I still don't know. I did pretty well. Now you can do it with freezer paper. I learned how to do it with freezer paper afterwards, which would have been so much easier. And that's a technique that I will be showcasing. Actually, I think I've done it in one video already that I did with Becca last year. For the traveling quill, I can go look up the link for that if anyone's interested. But yeah, if you ever do applique, freezer paper is definitely the way to go. It's cheap, it's effective, and it works. So, we'll definitely do something like that. Good morning, Miss Kim. It's good to see you. Good morning, Miss Molly. It's good to see you as well. Zaza says patterns are usually the guides. I usually go off pattern. That's fun. Susie Hewlett is here with us as well. Did I miss anyone coming in? I probably did, because I'm terrible like that. Let's see. Janice, good morning to you. I saw you popped in a little while ago. Susan says she butted heads with my junior high when we had the sewing unit. Project was a poncho. I was already wearing clothes that I had sewn, so I made a simple skirt instead. She gave me an F. Well, that's terrible. Yeah, sometimes they just... Yeah, it just did not pique my interest. I had absolutely no interest in sewing back then. So, but I'm glad I am now. I really am. This has been so much fun, which is good. Tracy Milton, good morning to you as well. All right, so we've done row 5. We'll now move on to row 6, which this is one of my favorite rows. So this one here is Reese's. This was like one of Nisha's favorite. She loved, every kid has had something here that they've loved. For her, it was definitely Reese's. And then, this is the fun row. This is all the states she went to. So Virginia and North Carolina, New York. She flew into New York. We didn't take her there, unfortunately. New Jersey, because that's where they stayed. And Maryland. So, unfortunately, we didn't get to take her to as many states as some of the other kids because of COVID.
I'm terrible about my New England states. I was guessing as you were holding them up before you said what the state shape was, and I was off on most of them.
That's okay. I mean, it's hard. There's a lot of states here. Like back home, it was easy because we had 6 states and a couple of territories. So learning the Australian states, you can do fairly quickly. And, half of them, it kind of tells you where it is too. Like Western Australia, where could that be? Would that be the big state on the west? Yes. Yeah, it takes up a third of the country. Yes, that's Western Australia. South Australia, is that the one down towards the south? Yes. So, Australian geography is pretty simple, pretty easy. If you study it from about 10 minutes. Here, not so much. I used to always struggle with Arizona and New Mexico. I finally remembered that New Mexico sits underneath Colorado, so I've got that one down pat. And then I used to struggle with Vermont and New Hampshire. And then my lovely wife told me one day, quite recently, she's like, Vermont looks like a V and New Hampshire looks like an N if you're looking at it. I was like, oh, I wish I'd known that like ages ago. So
It's interesting. The states, at least in my part of the country, are named after some of the Native American tribes that inhabited our states before others moved in. The state of Iowa is named after the Kiowa Indian, Native American, and yeah, there's beautiful names of cities around here. There's a Keosauqua, Iowa. Um, when I lived in a suburb of Kansas City, it was named Olathe, which was the Native Americans' language. It was their word for something like beautiful land.
Oh, that's fun. It's kind of like that here too, like in Virginia, like everything is either named after something British or Native American as well. Like, obviously Norfolk, Suffolk, Southampton, Richmond, those sort of places, they're all obviously British. Portsmouth is another one. And then, we have Pequosen, Chincoteague, Chesapeake. and several others, you know, that are all Native American. Okay, let me go see if I can find that link for you real quick. Content, video, I'll have to go back. I'm pretty sure it was like, I have to go through a few pages. I've done a lot of videos. I think I had like 600 or 700 videos over the time. Like that is crazy that I've done that many. And I appreciate each and every one of you watching as many of them as you have, because I never would have expected that when I started. I figured, you know, maybe I get like 20 or 30 subscribers, and now I have, you know, getting closer to 4,000 than I was before. All right, where did you go? Traveling. Called a traveling quilt, I think. Now I can't find it. Where are you? $2024. I'm going to find it in a minute, I hope. Oh, there it is. I found it. Oh, hallelujah. Whew. For a minute there, I didn't think I was going to find it. Okay. What a mess. Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me there, Miss Pasita. She says, hi to everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to all the Canadians, because it is Thanksgiving on Monday for Canada. So happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian friends. I should have known that. I work with Canadian customers 5 days a week. So how could I forget that? I guess, you know, once you turn your work brain off, that's it. So, yeah, they will have their Thanksgiving Day on Monday. So that'll be fun for them. And then, yeah, here in the US, we'll have Thanksgiving in late November. I was going to say late October. What's wrong with me? So, yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian friends. I hope you all have a great day on Monday. I actually took Monday off to enjoy, because I was like, if I go into the office on Monday, I'm just going to sit around and twiddle my thumbs all day, because I'm not going to have the first thing to do. So.
Yeah. We're already making plans to go to the family farm, where all those good memories I talked about at the beginning happened. So my uncle has the farm now, and they raise Angus beef cattle there. So it'll be nice to take my then 3-year-old son to the farm to see the cattle.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, the kids love seeing the cattle. And that was something that surprised us last week. Like, the girls absolutely love seeing all the farm animals at the state fair. We didn't think they'd be very interested in that, but yeah, they had the best time hanging out with the animals. So
they're very peaceful.
oh, definitely. There we go. Mary says her first applique quilt was a freezer paper. My granddaughter has that quilt. That's fun. Yeah, someone taught me about freezer paper one time, and I was like, what is all this? What are they talking about? Like, why would you use freezer paper? But once you use freezer paper, I can almost guarantee you, you will thank us and never go back to regular applique. It's basically with the freezer paper, in a nutshell, is, you know, it sees through. It's almost like tracing paper. You trace out the shape of whatever you want to make in applique, and then you iron the freezer paper onto the fabric, and it sticks while you sew it on, or whatever it is. I'm sorry, I lie. You can actually iron the freezer paper on first. Like you trace it out, then you can iron it onto the product, you can cut it out, and then you can take the freezer paper off, and you might want to test it first just to be safe. But generally, it just peels straight off. There's no residue or anything else like that, which makes it even better. So it's a fantastic option. Someone taught it to me a few years back. I've been using it ever since. I wish I'd done it for this project. If I had, maybe I would have done all $110, because some of the detail on this, like this one, I didn't use freezer paper, and I managed to get it done all right. But that was hard.
Wow. You did a great job.
Oh, I'm very proud of this. I think I did an exceptional job, and this was I think that just from like 5 years ago. So I didn't have nearly the skill set that I do now. Good morning, Miss April. It's good to see you. Kim says there are small towns here in Missouri that were named by someone spinning a globe, then stopping, and wherever their finger was, that was the name they chose.
Oh, it is so funny because we have this in Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri, and I think I've seen it in Oklahoma too. But we have the names of extremely exotic, if you can call Europe exotic, but exotic European like city names, or South American country names. So there's like a Peru, Missouri, I want to say. There's a Mexico, Missouri. My cousin was born in Mexico, Missouri. We drive through it on our way to the Ozarks. There's a Milan, Illinois, right by me, but you should really be pronouncing it Milan. Oklahoma, what's the one in Oklahoma? Oh, there's a Prague, but they pronounce it Prague. Ooh.
Right. No, poor Simon would be upset if he heard that because he's from Prague. And then there's Cairo, right, which is spelt the same way, Cairo in Illinois, down there by
Yeah.
Missouri. But isn't it pronounced Cairo? Is that right? Or am I imagining that?
I've never heard of it, but it might not be that close to my part of Illinois. I live on the border of Iowa and Illinois on the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
But
No, this
yeah,
is down in southern Illinois. You go down 55 or one of those things. You go down through Johnson City, which is a tiny little hamlet down there. And then I forget the name of the city below it, which is where I almost got myself killed because I came out of a Walmart parking lot and then turned left onto this road and ended up on the wrong side of the road. Whoops. I still learned how to drive on the right-hand side of the road at that point.
yeah. Yeah, I accidentally took the wrong exit when I lived in Los Angeles. I was coming back from, did I go to Hollywood one night? I was also working up in Burbank, but I was living on the UCLA campus this was probably 2008. I had a summer internship there, but I went to Santa Ana by mistake and got off the wrong exit. And I was like, I need to get right back on the interstate. I guess they
Now,
call
why
them
did
freeways out there.
Yes, yeah, we have they call them freeways in Australia too. Like we have a freeway between Sydney and Newcastle on that. Um, I think this is kind of like their way of like we call them interstates here. Um, I think it's the same sort of thing there. And I think it's like that in the UK as well, where I think, do they have freeways out there as I forget what forget what they call them out there. So there you go. Cora says they have a Peru and a Mexico and Indiana as well. They have some of those names out here in Virginia too. I just cannot remember the names, unfortunately, at this present time. Good morning, Mr. Melanie. It's good to see you. Andy says she needs to try freezer paper with FPP. Why didn't I not think of that? Would make life so much easier.
I bought some FPP paper at my local quilt shop.
Yeah, but I think what she's saying is like cutting out the pieces for FPP. If you put it on freezer paper, you cut it because that's the thing I struggle with the most is I had to cut it way too big or way too small. So I think if you traced out the shape, here, I'll show you an example.
Kind of creating your template.
Exactly. Yeah. So like if you have stay like this here, you want to cut out this WW piece. You could get a piece of freezer paper, trace out this shape, and then cut out that fabric from this instead of trying to put this on here and trying to guess and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, and you can use the freezer paper as tracing too.
Yes, yeah, I think that's what she's trying to say. Or if she isn't, that's the idea I've gotten out of it. And I think that's fantastic because freezer paper, you can buy a big roll of that for like $2 or $3. It'll last you forever. I actually have a big roll of freezer paper in my sewing room. I think it's actually sitting behind one of the sewing machines. But yeah, I might test that theory this week. and see how it goes. If that's not what Andy had intended, that's what I'm taking from it, and I think it'll work out quite nicely. Kim says, pronounced like Cairo, yes. Okay, so I did get it right. I read that in the book once. Yeah, it's amazing how you retain random information sometimes like that. So there you go. I know I've got it right in the past, but today I'm going to butcher it. Dubravka says, good morning from Canada. Good morning to you and happy Thanksgiving for you on Monday. Okay, I did do this correctly, yes. I am a hot mess this morning. Andy says, if you're making multiple identical FPP, you can reuse the freezer paper, stitch it next to the fold, not through it. Okay, cool. And I've also learned recently you can do a method where you kind of do something similar where you fold the paper back and you sew right next to it as well without having to go through it. I want to test that theory out as well soon. I don't want to do it with my pattern that I'm doing right now just because I've already started it and I don't want it to be off. I worry about that. But yeah, that sounds very interesting to me because picking out the paper afterwards is a pain, to say the least. And I'm not looking forward to doing that with Toasty with 1,100 pieces at the very end of it. But that's future Sean's problem, not present Sean's problem. Janice says that I always use freezer paper for FPP. Works great. Okay, awesome. I really want to try this out. I said I never thought about it. I don't know why. And that's what I love about my audience. One of the things I love about my audience is that you all have the best ideas because between all of us, we have thousands of years of experience. So I love that you are willing to share that information with me and give me ideas because half of the ideas that I come up with are not mine. It's been borrowed from you guys. So thank you for that.
What's the ultimate use for the quilt that you're working on?
The toaster, you mean?
No, the one you're FPPing, like with Reese's.
Yeah. Oh, this one here, this is actually going to go to Poland eventually. This is going to be for my first exchange student because while she was here, we had this brilliant idea that would make this quilt for her of all the different places she went and all the different experiences and the different events. And it was supposed to be completed, made, and go back home with her when she went back to Poland in July of 2020. It is now October of 2025, and it's still here. But, yeah, once it's done, it will eventually go to Poland. Now, whether I put it in a box and mail it to her, or if we just wait and we go over and drop it off in person at some point, who knows? It'll probably be like former because I don't think I'm going to be able to make it over to Europe anytime soon, unfortunately, unless someone happens to deposit a large amount of money in my account that I can keep. But, we'll make it there.
Yeah, European travel is so good. I think there's a lot of action in Poland right now. We're having some soldiers locally being deployed to Poland.
Yeah, it's getting weird out there. I've been told, it's from her and a family that they're okay and they don't expect anything, but obviously everybody's watching very closely on that.
Yeah.
So, I got it right again. Okay, perfect. That's good to know. Martha says, greetings from Orange County, California. I have to go to work today, so up and awake. Well, thank you so much for joining us for a little while. I know it's right early there, and I just appreciate everybody that pops in every week. I know I say it a lot, but it really does make a big difference because there's so many other places you could be. And I just appreciate that you come and hang out with me. Like, I just think it's amazing that we have 70, 80, 90 viewers every week live while I'm here because I'm the early guy. So, and I know, especially for folks out west, like even on the East Coast, it's early, but especially, the Midwest where you are, Cathy, and the mountains where Andy is, and the West Coast where a lot of them are. And then, Miss Catherine out there in Australia where it's past midnight there for her now. Yes, yeah, so
it just works out well. Yeah, just different things going on at different times of the day. It works out well for us because our day hasn't really started yet. We're still just lazing around having what we call a bedroom hang in time in the morning and drinking our coffee or our milk or giving the baby a bottle. So it's nice and chill and we turn on Sean.
Well, that's awesome. And that's one of the reasons I do it at this time in the morning because when I started my channel, I had no desire, no expectation of doing lives. And then people kept asking for it. I'm like, okay, well, I'll give this a go and we'll see what happens. And I was trying to figure out a time slot. And you don't want me being live on a weeknight. It would not end well.
No.
Because if you think I'm a hot mess now, you wait till after me being at work all day. No, thank you. I've done a couple of lives on weeknights, but I'm not the host. I don't think I'll ever host one unless I'm off that day. And so I was trying to figure out, when can I do a live? And I didn't want to be on live when everybody else was. And then I figured, okay, look, everybody likes to sleep in on a Saturday morning in my house. So why not hop up at 8 o'clock in the morning? I can hopefully catch the Australians before they go to bed. We'll catch a few early birds here in the US. It's lunchtime over there in Europe. And so we'll figure we'll give it a shot and see what happens. And yeah, it's worked very, very, very well. So yes, Danette comes up with a very good point. She says, just remember to add the 1/4 inch to your FPP freezer paper template. Yes, absolutely. I did remember that, but that's very good to remind me. If you don't say something, I will forget. So thank you for that. But I will give that a shot this next time I pull Toasty out, which I don't know will be today because I already worked on him a little bit this week. I like to bounce from project to project. I had a few people tell me in the past that they like my podcast. One of the reasons they like my podcast is because I bounce from project to project and you just never know what you got to see each week. So, which I think's a lot of fun too.
That's great. I love having works in progress. It gives you a chance, no matter what kind of state that you're in, to practice different skills. If you want something more meditative, you can do some chain piecing, stitch and flip corners. If you want something more mindful, you can do your applique like you're doing, or FPP.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. And that's how I feel too. Seems like Kim's on her way out. Thank you so much for joining us. You all have a wonderful, blessed day. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, because there's sometimes I come home from work and I'm like, I don't want to do anything difficult, so I'll pull out one of my cotton cut projects or something. That's pre-cut. I just put it together. Does it mean I'm going to make a mistake? Probably. If you see my short from yesterday, I made, I think, 2 mistakes on that. I had to pull out my very, very bestest friend. A couple of times, but we all have a bit of a chuckle about it, and we live about our day because if you think about it, you don't use Jack a lot more than you do use him. So
true. I just got mine out a second ago because I did my stitch and flip corner on a little bit wrong side of the line. I learned actually very recently that stitch and flip corner you should air towards the corner with your stitching line and not directly on the line. And that has changed the game in a good way. So
that's good.
Yeah, so I aired a little bit on the other side of the line. So I just had to rip that out. But if you just take a breath, it's good. That actually gives me an idea for an episode that I can film on seam ripping and how it can actually be very mindful and meditative, and do some breathing exercises.
There you go. That'd be an interesting episode. I'll definitely be checking that one out.
I'll have to do a karaoke for you too.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
See, everybody I talk to with my interest in yoga, they're very interested, like they've been exposed to it as a concept a little bit. Some people think it's stretching. Some people think I could never do that. I'm not flexible enough, or it's too vigorous of exercise. It's a lot of people have a different concept of what yoga is. And I just want to explore it as a restorative practice for quilters, really.
Yeah, and I think you had the potential to do very well with that. I'm really interested to see what you do with this and how you pursue it because I know my in-laws, the chair yoga, they love it, and I think a lot of us, even if you aren't super limber, super flexible, I think is the word I'm looking for. I think it's something you can still do because they're in their mid-70s and they do it quite successfully apparently. So there you go. Pasita says she's off to a quilting class. Have a great day. Well, thank you so much for tuning in for a little bit, and good morning to JBL. It's good to see you there as well. Susan says she had a date with Jack yesterday, unsewing the wrong inner border on a quilt. Oops, yeah, I had a good little session with my mate earlier this week too, because I had goofed up twice on the Queen of Hearts,
She looks
which I
so good.
yeah. So you'll get to see an update on her tomorrow. I fixed her a little bit. I've done a little more here as well. Like this section is part of a dress. We'll get
Ooh.
yeah. Hopefully we'll have
Oh,
some more. Yeah, she's gonna look really nice when she's done.
I love the purple that you used. I forget if I think it's her hair. You used a purple.
Yes.
Oh, the movement in that. It reminds me of that actual movement in her hair depicted in the movie.
Speaking of which, that's what I was trying to. Yeah, mineral and mineral. That mineral. That's the name of that line. We were trying to figure it out the other day because when I was at the quilt shop, the lady had some of that in a different color, and she was like, "What's the name of that line?" It was a tulip line. And I was like, "I cannot remember. I know I have some at home, but I don't remember what it was called."
If you had some of the, oh, you didn't have some of the fabric with you there? Because I've been using Google Lens for everything to
Oh, your
help me.
Google Lens is amazing. Yes,
Yeah.
I should have used that, but I didn't even think about that. So, all right. Yeah. So, who else has had a date with Jack this week? Let's see. Nanette has had a date with Jack. Susan has. I have. Yeah. Let me know on the chat if you've had a date with Jack this week. That'd be a fun little question to ask here in the chat. Those two go next. At least it's good to know that I'm not alone. And that's something I do show in my videos. Is like I'm not afraid to show that I goof up, and it's interesting sometimes because sometimes you show it and then I'll get a comment that says, "Hey, especially with the puzzle mystery quilts, because a lot of us are doing those at the same time. It's you'll get the comment, "Oh, I did the same thing," so it makes you sometimes it's a little bit of a confidence boost that you're not alone. It's not just you making that mistake. So Mary said she saw Jack this week too. Okay, so it's not just me. That's good to know. You've also got to think too, if you're using Jack, it means you're in a sewing room and actually doing some crafting. So that's good too.
Yeah.
Another way to think about it, right? So, all right, North Carolina.
It's like a numbers
Joined.
game. It's the more that you sew and create, the more likely you are to use that tool, just like an artist use different tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sooner or later, if you sew enough, you're going to use it. Kind of like when I was dating, it's like you're going to go on more bad dates or just okay dates than good dates. You just got to play the
Oh, for
numbers.
sure. Yep, that is very true.
Did you date very long before you found Amanda?
No, actually, no. I dated a girl in high school for a little while, and yeah, then no, not really. I mean, we just kind of happened to find each other, and that was it. So, but it was like 5 years, 6 years, yeah, 5 years between. So
Okay.
I just wasn't real interested in dating a bunch of different people. I just kind of figured, okay, if it's not meant to be successful, I don't know that I'm really interested in it. So I figured the
We
right
had
person,
completely different approaches
right
then.
person will come along at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure this one out. This one seems longer than the others.
It was very
Was this
interesting
one too
trying to date
short?
during COVID.
Oh, I can imagine. This one's too short. It's not good. What am I going to do with this? Oh, now we've hit a problem.
I went through and I drew all of my lines from corner to corner on my little cotton woven pieces. I don't think I'm going to sew with much cotton woven after this is done. I tried it, and it's not that it's not for me. It's just I think I have to reevaluate my starching game, and um, I want to sew with a lot more Moda after this. Like I think Moda is kind of, and Ruby Star is like right there in the thickness of the quilting cotton that I want, and then just get really good at starching. And I think that doesn't move with quite the ease that cotton wovens like Fabulism will.
Yeah. Do you starch a lot? Is that something that you do? Are you a starcher or do you not starch? That's a great
I'm a
question to ask.
starcher now. Oh, for the group too. Yeah, I want to hear what other folks say. I
Yeah,
don't
because
know. I went down the
I'm
rabbit
not.
hole. I went down the rabbit hole on like microplastics and if starch is a microplastic and natural starches. So I'm really interested to hear what the community is putting in on the chat on what they do, especially if you're concerned about microplastics like I am.
Yeah.
Teach me your ways. Oh,
Yeah, I've made it this far without starching, and so I don't really have any real intentions of starting because I've kind of developed a style without it needing it. So it's one less cost that I have to worry about. However, having said that, I am a huge proponent of this Easy Press pen by Acorn. These are really good for pressing starching the seams. Because do a lot. They're a lot flatter. I'll get it right there in a minute. Sorry, I'm a little frazzled right now because one of my blocks is about half an inch too short, and I don't know if I still have that fabric to join to it. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. So, but we got to put it to the side, that row, and we will figure something out. We'll move on to the next row, right? That's going to be a good idea. Correct? Yes. Okay, cool.
I'm sure you have something that would be a really close match too.
I know, we'll work something out, but me trying to figure that out while I'm live is not the best idea. So
Right.
it's just going to go.
The artist is always the most critical of their work.
Yeah, I just got to figure out a solution. And I may still have a scrap of that floating around somewhere, and I hope I do. If I do, I'll just attach it and we'll go about a day. If not, like you said, we'll find something similar. But yeah, that needs to be a later on today problem. Not a right this minute at 9:17 a.m. with everybody watching problem. We'll work that out later. So that's all right. We'll sort it out. It's not going to be the end of the world.
No.
If I have to attach something slightly darker, something lighter to it, it's going to be half an inch. No one's really going to notice it.
Let's see.
It will be all right.
I need to actually stop too and see if this piece is the right size.
Susie says use one of the leftover blocks. I would, but I want to keep. It's one of the state blocks. And I want to keep that one in. Otherwise, that would be a very, very good idea. It's just unfortunate that it's that block. I'll work it out. It's half an inch. If I have to put something slightly different at the bottom, no one's ever going to notice it. It's not going to be a huge deal. Misha's not going to care. But it just does not need to be something that I need to focus my attention on right this very minute. So there you go. Tracy says that I've had many dates of Jack this week. Becky says, take us through some of the chair stretches. Susie says, Jack and I are well acquainted learning automation on my long arm. Yeah, good luck. Those things, long arms terrify me. Layla says, Jack helped her with some polyplan free motion quilting. Yeah, Jack's helped me with that in the past too. Joyty, good morning. I did see you pop in and I forgot to, we need to talk about that in a second too. Joyty says, I have a pending date with Jack. I'm ripping a completed flimsy because I don't like it. I should have listened to my gut from the beginning and put sashing between the blocks. Oh, well, yeah, I've had to rip out like an entire quilt because it shifted during the quilting process. I think I did that like 2 or 3 times with this quilt. This thing was an absolute mess. It's now done, thank goodness. But there you go. Raven, good morning to you. Laura says, good morning, Sean, Cappy, and everyone from a very rainy Arizona all week trying to keep my rescue dog calm. She's terrified of storms. I feel for you there, Laura, because yeah, Copper was like that too for the longest time. And then Georgie says, "Yay, yay, Cathy, another far for woohoo!" Because you just got that machine recently, right? That's your first big girl machine, I think is what you call it.
It is. It is my brother's sewing machine. That was my baby sewing machine. Yeah, I was in it for a few $100s just to make sure this is something that I get enjoyment out of before I invested in a nicer machine. And yeah, then the brother machine, it kept on eating the fabric, kind of like my mom's old Kenmore did, like Kenmore from the 70s. And we would rethread it and clean it out, everything. Oh, there's Ollie again. And it would just keep eating the fabric, and the bobbin thread would get all gunked up in there. And finally, when I got my new FOF machine, uh, luckily we had a dealer here close by. Then the brother actually started behaving correctly. It knew it was getting replaced or had competition. So now that's my
Right.
my quilt shop sit and sew open sew machine that is more mobile, and I take the brother.
That's awesome. She's asking what model did you get? You got the Quilt Ambition something or other, right?
Yeah, 635.
630. Okay, yeah, it's one of the newer ones.
Well, the newest one, actually, when I was looking, there was a line coming out that week, and those were a little bit higher price than I wanted to spend. I wanted a big girl sewing machine, but I didn't want the Cadillac.
Right.
So this one was nice. It's I think it's what the dealer called like one of their entry level machines, but not entry level for me. This is my hobby. This machine might last me the rest of my life, like on this hobby.
Sure. Yeah. No, they can get pricey, but I mean they're very good machines. I love this machine because I got the Ambition 620, which I don't know if they're discontinuing this one or if they're still got it around. I got this at a very good price. Um, but yeah, no, I'm very happy. But yeah, some of them are quite expensive. So
Mhm.
there you go. And that says it's been raining there for days. Andy says they're worried about flooding in Arizona. The desert can't handle all the water in such a short time. Yeah, we're very close to sea level here, and we're supposed to get a pretty wicked storm nor'easter comes through this weekend. They might be dumping anywhere between 2 to 6 inches of rain. So we'll manage. We've got 5 inches like a month ago here in one day, and we all survived. I almost flooded my car coming home one day that day, but we'll make it work. Nanette says they have little ponds here on the farm in Western Colorado. Good morning, Laura Lynn. It is so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a little while. I always wonder how you're doing, so it's good to see you. If you haven't seen her channel, you need to go say hi to her. She has always has something fun going on. She should be live a little later on today, usually around 1 p.m. Eastern as well. Let's see. Laura says, I can't believe it either. I'm sure the flooding is going to be bad. It's supposed to rain here all day and tomorrow. I just never associate Arizona with rain. To me, it's always like this desert where it's always dry. But I know they do have rain once in a while. Okay, good morning, in Stitches with Jackie. It's good to see you. She says, hi. All sorry, very late. No problem. You're never late here. You show up when it's good for you. I love you all the same, whether you're here, when you first show up, or if you watch at the very end, or if you come and watch the replay, because at the end of the day, a view is a view. And I appreciate each and every one of you taking a little bit of time out of your day to come out and hang with us for a little bit. So thank you so much. Dragonfly to Donna is asking what projects we're working on today. You are working on some cow blocks, correct? Is that right, or am I imagining this?
Yeah, I'm working on Annabelle by Cotton and Joy patterns.
I've seen that. Yeah, I think was that on your Instagram account, or was it my imagination?
I think you might have been seeing it because I think there's a fabric line that came out with Riley Blake called Essence, where they used
Oh, okay.
the sample quilt to show off the colors. We've got the morning
Yeah,
sun coming through. I'm gonna close that window so it's not so bright.
very nice. And then I am working on the Misha quilt, and I did this row here earlier. right way up. I know I'm Australian, everything's upside down, but we've done the bird and the Christmas tree, and then Hamilton and burger, snowman, and the hot dog. And then we started another row, but we ran into a small issue of that one, so we're going to come back and do that later. Yeah. Now I'm missing a clip. We're just having all sorts of fun and excitement here, and the guy who's so studio.
Mhm. I don't think I've actually showed the progress I've made. I'll snip this guy off of my chain and show. So I'm working on the snouts of the cows, and then this is the top of the snout that goes up to the face, my stitch and flip corners. And then right now I'm sewing the background pieces onto the lower corners.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like a honeydew green background in a cotton woven. And then the faces are an honest to goodness cow print. So there's an eye piece with the cheeks.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I found a shirting cotton that has amazingly like vivid cow markings, and I really like it.
So this would have to be the defining block of 2020.
Oh, I thought it would have been a dumpster fire.
No. What a mess of a year.
What's the significance of is it 2020 or is there another significance?
Yeah, that was 2020 because she was here during the pandemic.
Oh.
Our first year of hosting was the 2019-2020 years. So yeah, I wanted to symbolize the that in some way because thankfully I got some warning about the toilet paper crisis because my cousin in Australia showed me pictures of the empty shelves in Australia with the toilet paper, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go grab some before we run out. And then like 3 days, because I sent her a picture back and go, hey, look, it's still in stock here. And then like 2 days later, it was empty, and we couldn't get any for ages. So sometimes it's nice having those international connections to give you a heads up to what's going to happen to you. So
yeah. It was interesting. When I was still working in IT, I had a lot of colleagues in India, and pretty much a few months before we had something happen, they already had it happen there. So I always had my ear to the ground with what my Indian colleagues were experiencing, because that's when I knew it was coming our way.
yeah, we got very lucky at our job because we were actually testing working from home, just make sure it worked. Like
Yeah.
a month or so before the pandemic hit, like they were just doing it just to make sure like there was a hurricane or snow or something like that we could successfully, do our jobs from home. And we were in the middle of testing this, like we'd have half the staff in the office, half at home, and then it just suddenly came to, oh well, yeah, hopefully this works because you're all going home. So
Yeah, we did something similar. I was working in IT for a human resources software for my company, and they put us in what they call a war room when we got wind that everybody might have to work from home. And we just got in a room and had a think tank kind of session, and we were trying to answer the question, is it possible for people to be able to log in if they're not on Wi-Fi and network and firewalls that were in the office? So we had to try to make that possible and answer that question.
yeah. No, thankfully we got it all worked out. So because we ended up staying home for like a year and some change, which was great. I loved staying home.
Yeah.
I got to spend a lot more time with Amanda and Misha because all the schools shut down. And then Misha ended up staying, and like normally go home in mid-June, but she stayed until almost mid-July because the Polish borders didn't open up until the beginning of July. And then trying to get her a seat on a plane back to Poland was challenging to say the least. And then the first time we tried to send her home, the flight to New York got cancelled, and then she was going to miss the connection. So we ended up having to rebook it 2 days later. And that was a crazy routing because we had to send us from Norfolk, which is our local airport, to DC, to New York, to Toronto, and then finally over to Warsaw. So I looked at the poor airline agent. I'm like, is there anything that doesn't involve 3 stops? And she's like, no, this is it. I said, what happens if I drive it to DC? And they're like, well, you just kill that leg. Just if you're still going the same way. I'm like, okay, just book it. You know, we'll make it work. And then thankfully I remembered that she needed a virtual visa to go through Canada. And so I had already organized all that for her and everything else. And then her dad called me the day she was supposed to leave in a panic. And he's like, oh, she needs a visa for Canada. I'm like, oh, don't worry, I've already taken care of it. Yeah, that was it. So let's see. Andy says parents were seriously worried about TP. Like we had a Costco run before lockdown. I could share a few rolls. Yeah, we all shared, I think. Husband was an IT, never had a chance to work from home. He's in charge of setting up the laptops for everyone else. I said we were just lucky we had everything set up like a couple of weeks before. We got very, very lucky on that. Susan said her job was one that couldn't be done remotely, was a playground supervisor at one of the grade schools here. Yeah, they just shut our schools down. Originally it was 2 weeks, and then the governor came on and said, no, we're done for the year. Like he was a doctor back in the day, so I think he just got cautious and just said, no, we're done for the year. So there you go. Oh, good morning to my friend Angel from Halo Inspirations. That was the quilt shop that I was talking about earlier this week that I went up to see. Yeah, it was fun hanging out with her and the rest of the crew there. It was really fun. Laura Lynn says fall setting at 51 degrees Fahrenheit, which is roughly like 9 or 10 degrees Celsius, if I remember. So there you go. But anyway, it is after 9:30, so I think we'll go ahead and start wrapping things up here. Later on today, I think Donnell's still at her retreat, so I don't know that she's going to be live today. So you can always go check out one of her videos or check out one of mine or one of your favorites. In the interim, Russ should be live at 11 today, I think, unless he's gone on his cruise. Everybody's going out doing stuff. I'm going to hang out here and do some sewing, which will be fun because we're supposed to have a wicked storm later on today and tomorrow. So that's good sewing weather. And then Laura Lynn will be live a little later on today. We'll put her link in there as well. We'll throw Ross's in for and Donnell. And then I think Katie's going to be live later today as well. We'll put Katie in as well. So yeah, lots of cool stuff to go. And then I'll be back tomorrow. I've got plenty of stuff to share with everybody tomorrow on my podcast. Do you have anything coming up on your Instagram? I know you've talked about your upcoming YouTube channel, which I'm excited to to view and that sort of thing there. Please let me know when that starts so that way I can help promote that as well. Laura says it was great to catch you live. It's really good to see you back in the chat, and it's good to see that you're up and moving around a little bit more too, Laura. So thank you so much for that. I did ask you a question. I got distracted. So do you have anything else that you want to tell us about?
No, you're doing a great job fielding everybody's comments and questions. I know somebody asked for me to do a few poses for chair yoga. So I'll make sure that's the very next video that I film and get up there before the end of the calendar year. So thank you for that suggestion. It'll give me, I'll be able to do it justice because I'll get the right microphones and the right setup for it. So I don't have anything as far as projects coming up. I don't think. I mean, hopefully I can get further on my cow faces, but I'm just going to keep trucking along here, and within the next few weeks I think I'll have my first video up. So the place to go get all that news is on my Instagram at yoga and quilts, all spelled out, all one word, and follow me there. And then in my stories and my posts, you'll see when my YouTube video is available. And Sean, I'm happy to help you, like you mentioned, with any social media marketing. That's what I got my degree in. And
oh, nice. Okay, that's a good resource to have because yeah, I mean, I seem to do okay with YouTube, but yeah, the Instagram and that I'm still, I post there once in a while, but yeah, I could always do a little better there going down the road. Fun. So I put Cathy's link to Instagram in. If you haven't joined Instagram, I highly recommend it. I think it's a wonderful platform. There's a plethora of wonderful creators over there that do some fantastic reels. They do fantastic posts. I get a lot of inspiration over there, and I don't see a lot of ads over there. So if you're worried about ads and political nonsense and all that sort of stuff, there you shouldn't see it there. Am I going to say you're not going to? Absolutely not, because as soon as I do, someone's going to come prove me wrong. But it's you don't see a whole lot of ads or anything like that. Just start liking quilting stuff, and it'll keep showing you more and more of that.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of cool creators, including Cathy over there, that you should go follow and that sort of thing there. Anyway, we will duck off. Thank you all so much for joining us. If you are watching in the replay, please say hi in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from and what you're planning on working on for right now. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you all have a great day. Happy sewing, and we'll see you all in the next one.